Hey there folks, today I'd like to take a casual peek into the Predator Big Red action figure set by NECA. I believe this set is part of Series 7 of the Predator line and was first available at the end of 2012 and the beginning of 2013. I got this set at a Toys R Us and paid about $18 for this set. Taking a look at the packaging and the figure within it, you can see that this is standard Predator packaging, and it's got the Big Red here, who, if you're not familiar with Big Red, is a character from a fan-made crossover type movie that involved xenomorphs, predators, and certain DC characters. And he's sort of a cult type of following, and is a pretty cool figure, and I'm pretty happy that NECA was able to create a figure based off a character in a fan film, which is really cool. And you can see Big Red. He's got his accessories there, and you can see more accessories there, and pretty cool. And nice card art there of Big Red, a nice profile picture there, and very nice. And you can see here that this particular figure has new and improved articulation. It includes interchangeable hands and also 2 katana swords right here. And down here you can see some credit information of people involved in creating this figure set. Pretty nice. And here we have the back of the packaging and some artwork of Big Red there. And we have a description here of Big Red. And I'm glad they included the nod to his appearance in the fan film, especially this particular line, the very last line there, where he encountered an infamous costume vigilante during his hunt. Very cool. And we have here other figures from the series. We got Big Red. I believe this is a City Hunter. I'm not familiar with the Predator series. And I believe this is called a Falconer in camo mode there. And kind of cool. I don't know what this writing represents. I guess you have to be one of the Predators to be able to read that there. So we'll be right back and have Big Red out of the package. Alright, we have Big Red out of the packaging. And first up, I forgot to mention the name of the movie that Big Red makes an appearance in. And the name of the movie is called Batman Dead End. It was a fan-made movie created in the early 2000s, I believe. And is very well done considering it was a fan-made movie. And Big Red makes a very brief appearance in that film, and it's still a memorable sequence because he has just a very unique look compared to other Predators. And that movie, you can probably see it on YouTube, and go ahead and do a search for Batman Dead End if you want to watch that film. And but taking a look here, we have the figure and the accessories, and we'll take a look at the accessories first before we take a look at Big Red. And we'll start off with the extra pair of hands. The figure came packaged with a pair of open hands, such as this here, and it's got some really neat detail on it. You can see it's got sort of like a glove type thing ongoing, wrapping around his fingers there, and you can see all the neat detail on there, and some painted details that look like studs there that are around his fingers. Very cool. And like all Predators, their fingers are very long, and also have long fingernails, and they're all painted. Pretty cool. And the other pair of hands that were included are a pair of closed fingers. almost a closed fist, but still open enough to allow you to insert the pair of swords that came included with the figure set. And oops, get some more detail on the hand, the closed hand there. It's very, very nice. And taking a look at those pair of swords or katanas, pretty cool. You got one longer one and a little bit shorter one here. And based on the description on the packaging, Big Red is I guess a fan of samurai culture, and he has a pair of katanas here, probably acquired from a previous hunt, and you could see some painted detail on the handles of the katanas there, and the blades themselves are pretty straight. They're made of a softer material, so you can bend it here and there, but mine were relatively straight now, which is kind of cool. And once you see the blades in person, the first thing I noticed, look, maybe it was kind of small for Big Red, but then you have to remember that this is probably an acquisition from a hunt. So the previous owner of these blades were probably smaller in stature compared to Big Red. So it could be understandable why the katanas look small compared to Big Red. So, but it looks like he does use them on his hunts. So, and they can go into the sheath here. You can see a pair of scabbards, and they fit in quite well. Right there, and you can just slide them in. It's pretty neat. Slide that one in here. The shorter one is a little bit tougher to get in, but you can get it in there, and that's kind of cool. And also the gripping hands grip the katanas fairly well as well. You can just slip the katana into the grip there. And you can see it holds it fairly well. It doesn't drop out or anything. So pretty neat on there. And taking a look at Big Red, let me just put this back in here. And this is an excellent figure. Now, I don't normally collect Predator figures from the NECA line. I have a couple based off of the original movie and the second movie, but I haven't really collected too many Predator figures. But this one here is really well done. I believe it's a remold of a previous figure. If I'm going to guess, it's probably a jungle hunter from some of the research I've done a little bit. Reuse, but there are some differences where Big Red is more unique, and the big difference is of course the paint. And you can see Big Red here is decked out in red, which is very, very cool. And I really like the paint they used on this figure. It's got painted, got red paint on the helmet and the armor, and also in addition there is a black wash applied on there, and it makes it look very, very well done. And you can see here on the armor and also on the helmet, it's very, very cool. And it's very neat. And we'll start out with the head sculpt here. He's wearing a mask, yeah, which is very nice. And it's got some painted detail. I don't know if that's a clan marking on his helmet there. You got a little yellow, I don't know, like an orb there on the center of the helmet. Is very cool. And you got some additional what looks like a wear, painted wear on the helmet there. Very, very nice. And of course you have these dreads that are typical of the Predator, I guess, characters. And these are made of a softer material, which is very nice. And you can see also some sculpted and painted detail on the dreads themselves. What look like little ringlets on there, and so very nice. And he's got quite a few dreads here, and they're all made of this soft material, which is very cool. You see how it bends there. And moving down here, you have these armor plates that are adorned sporadically throughout the body, and they're all made of a softer material as well, so it's kind of cool on here. It doesn't get too much in the way, especially like on the leg here, where it's softer material, but it doesn't really impede that much on the articulation, which is nice. And then you can see that Big Red is also wearing a trophy bandolier type of thing. You can see some bones of previous conquests here, draped across his torso there. It's actually kind of cool, and those are actually sculpted very nicely as well. And you can see some detail here on the torso. Very cool. He's wearing netting on the torso and the leg area, and the netting here is both sculpted and painted onto the figure, which is kind of cool. And a little bit bad if you find a particular figure that hasn't been painted very well. I've seen some other Predator figures where the paint of the netting is off. It's not painted onto the sculpted part of the netting, and which is unfortunate. And you can really tell on those particular mispaints. So you have to be aware of that if you're looking at for a nicely painted figure. But this one turned out fairly well, and the paint has been applied on the netting very nicely. Now again, Big Red, I guess, has an affinity to samurai culture, and you can see the belt that he's wearing here, and I guess this loin covering there, probably from previous conquest. I'm not sure how far back in time he acquired these, but you can see the swords in the scabbards there, and the scabbards are actually a part of this belt, which is loose around the waist, so you can move that around, which is kind of neat. And then you have this loin type covering, which is kind of cool. It's made of a softer rubberized material, but you have some sculpted and painted detail to look like metal plates on there. It's actually kind of cool. And you got some wash applied on those as well to make it look a little bit worn. Very nice. And then you got an ornamental design here along the belt area. Very cool. And here you have more of a leather type covering on the back, and you even have some detail here of a sculpted pouch there. Very neat. And more detail on the belt. You can see the buckle there. Very cool. And more detail on the armor on the back. Very nice. And like I said, these are all made of a softer material. You can see this is glued onto the arm there. And also here is a pair of blades that are coming out from the forearm armor area. And based on the description, I guess Predators normally have it on the right arm, but Big Red has it on his left arm. And also the blades on Big Red are gold instead of probably silver, metallic silver there. And these blades do retract and extend, so it's kind of cool. You just pull on it and push and pull on it to extend it or retract it, which is very nice on there. Very cool. And mine turned out fairly straight here. They're very bendable, and you don't want to be bending it too much and be prone to warpage or breakage. So pretty cool on those blades. Moving down here, you got some more armor padding along the leg here, and some knee armor there, and also some shin armor. And I guess Predators go around wearing sandal type footwear here, and it's got some really nice detail. You can see some metallic ornamental design there along running along the top of the foot there. Very cool. You can see some straps on the sandals that he's wearing, and the bottom here is pretty generic sculpt on the feet, but nice detail. It's just really great figure, and has me tempted to really collect more of the Predator figures. I just really had no interest in them earlier, but this particular figure is just very well done. I really love the way they did this figure. Going over articulation for Big Red here, the head is on a ball joint, so the head can look up and down, as well as can go all the way around. You gotta move the dreads along the shoulder there to get it around, and you can probably turn side to side as well, so that's kind of cool. The arms at the shoulders are on a but a hinged swivel joint, so the arms can go all the way around and out and in on the right arm, but it's more restricted on the left arm due to this hose or tube that are connecting the two parts of the armor here. So there's more limited movement on this arm, unless you snap that hose off. But so you really only can move the arm about this much on the left arm and about that far out and in. There is no bicep articulation, but there is a hinged swivel joint at the elbow. Allows the arm to bend in and out, and also rotate around at the elbow. And the hands are on a ball socketed joint, so they can go all the way around, in and out, side to side, and you can just pull on the hand here, and you can see the ball joint, so to allow you to interchange the extra hand there and just pop it back in there, so that's kind of cool. There is no mid-torso articulation, but there is a waist swivel. Allows the torso to go all the way around at the waist there. And one issue with this figure is the hips on this, and I don't know if it's just my particular figure or not, but the legs are very loose at the hips, and I believe it's due to the lower torso here. It's a quality issue here. Doesn't look like it was completely sealed or joined together and then sealed. I think that's why the legs are a little loose on this particular figure. But the legs at the hip is a ball hinged swivel joint, which allows the leg to go up, down, and back, and out to the side. And you can see how the armor here is very soft and allows the outward movement of the leg, which is nice. And there is also a rotation at the hip, so you can rotate the leg around at the hip. There are double hinge joints at the knees that allow for nice posability there. Unfortunately, no calf articulation. That would have been nice to have a swivel somewhere on the lower leg there, but there is none. And the feet are joined at the ankle with a ball socketed joint, just like the hands. So the feet can go up and down and all the way around, and even ankle pivot there. So you have a nice range of movement for the feet there. Overall, it's a great figure. I picked it up mainly because I was a fan of that Batman Dead End movie. And I'm really happy that NECA was able to produce Big Red from that movie. And it has me tempted to pick up other Predator figures just because of this great design of this figure. But it's very cool, and I recommend, even if you're a very casual fan of the Predator franchise, such as myself, it's just I think really worthy of picking up. So, but this is my casual peek into the Predator, a Big Red action figure by NECA. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.